Hi folks, Allsim Gaming here, and today I am going to show you how to set up your dead zones for steering wheels and gamepads in Farming Simulator 22. One of my followers recently had a question about dead zones and is having a rough time trying to figure it out. So I'm just decided instead of explaining it in the comments section, because that's a pain to type that much stuff, I would just make another video. That way you can refer back to it if you make a mistake or if you ever just want to check it out later on down the road. So I need to apologize right out the gate for the audio of this. I'm trying to figure out a new setup that I have, and it's still a little screwy, but I want to get this video out there for this particular follower of mine. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The first thing you want to do, obviously, is start up your Farming Simulator game, and then go down to Options. Now, when you first get in your options screen, it'll put you up here in this little gear, I'm pretty sure. But you want to go down to this tab right here. This is your Advanced Settings tab. And when you click on that, it'll bring up this screen. This is all your dead zones and sensitivities and stuff like that. Now at the top, you'll see there's the device you have plugged in. First one will be your gamepad if you have one. And down here, you can switch the device. It's important to remember to switch the device because whatever you set, that's what it's going to set a dead zone to this particular item. So if you're using a game controller, this top one right here, this is your steering, axis A or axis 1. And if you see it, if I move my left stick, it goes left and right. And you can set your dead zone right here. The steering wheel, this is a gamepad. This is a one-handed keyboard that I use. But the steering wheel, I have the 923 racing wheel. This top one is your dead zone. I have mine set to 1% and my sensitivity up to 100. Now, depending on what steering wheel you have or how old it is, this sensitivity makes a difference. The newer your wheel, obviously you'll have it at 100% because your wheel is still tight and it still works great. And 1% is the principle is the lower this number, the tighter your steering. So if you go all the way up to 100%, you'll turn the wheel probably half a turn or so before it'll actually steer the wheels in the game. The lower this number, 0 to 1 to say 4 to 5%, that is your tight steering. So if you touch the steering wheel, it will turn. See, mine still has a little bit of drift even at 1%, if you can see the little blue bar there. But in game, it's perfectly livable at 1%. If you go all the way to 0, if there's any drift in that wheel at all, it's going to turn regardless, because it's just wore out. And that happens over time, happens to everybody. Doesn't matter what wheel you have, it's going to happen eventually. So just remember the top one, that's your steering wheel. You want to set this to usually 4% is good. That's perfectly fine in game, but I like to set mine down to 1%, and that's just personal preference. And these will all be personal preference to you. The rest of these is your accelerator, your brake, and your clutch. And if you have the heavy equipment bundle, and that steering wheel also has joysticks on it, if I remember correctly. Excuse me. That was based off of like an Xbox controller, so that may not even show up here. It may show up as an Xbox controller. I'm spitballing here because I can't remember. I used to have one. I still do actually. It works fine. I just upgraded. But if it doesn't have these where it says accelerator in parentheses here, these little abbreviations, just remember the top one is your steering, and this is your dead zone right here. Uh, Steering dead zone, you always want to keep this number as low as possible so when you turn the wheel, it reacts right away. But those heavy equipment bundle wheels, those have a spring in them. They don't have a gear drive or a belt drive like most of the G29 series or G20 series or the Thrustmaster series wheels, where they have gear drives or belt driven. They're real sensitive, or that spring in those heavy equipment wheels can wear out. And I've had it happen. I've had a couple of those heavy equipment bundles. The first one, it went bad, but it was still the Cytec one. It wasn't the Logitech one. The second one I have, which I still have, that's the Logitech one, and it still has the spring in the wheel, but it's a little better, so you really don't have to worry about that much. But like I said, if the spring wears out, this is where you want to adjust your sensitivity at to try to make up for that. So other than that, this works for steering wheels, and if you have joysticks, I have the two T1 or T1600 Thrustmaster joysticks. It works for that. All these if whatever you move on the joystick, you'll see the little bar move. Show you here with the gamepad. See, that's the one joystick, and if I move it left and right, and then I move it up and down, you can see this bar moves. And then the other joystick is this, yeah, right there. That's up and down, and left and right is up here. And then you have the triggers, I believe, yeah. So, oops, hit the wrong button. So that's your, if you're using a controller, gamepad, then that's where you set your dead zones for that. And the steering wheel, all this good stuff here. You don't want to mess with your accelerator or your brake, and and Farm Sim really isn't that big a deal. But the steering is an issue, and that's how you set your dead zone. Like I said, if you have the heavy equipment bundle, you might want to bump that up a little bit, just because that's a spring-loaded wheel, and it doesn't have the gear drives or anything like that in it, or the belt drives. Keep your sensitivity. You might have to adjust that. You might have to figure out what you want here, and then go in the game and try it. And you might have to make a trip back here. The beauty is, once you do it, it's set for life. Unless you switch out your controller, then you'll have to go back and do this again. So yeah, that's basically how it's done. Just go to your options menu, go to advanced settings, and make sure when you're here, you switch the device. So you're not just setting it for your gamepad. You have to switch it and set it to whatever this is up here that you're looking to set it at. Okay, I really hope this helped you guys out. I really hope it helped my follower out. I appreciate you guys a ton. Remember to like and subscribe. It doesn't cost you nothing, but it does help this channel out 1,000,000%. And thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have learned something and you have a great day. And we'll see you in the next one.